Welcome to Childcare Rockstar Radio. I am your host, Chris Murray. Childcare leaders around the globe are breaking through challenges, leading the way in innovation, testing new best practices, and impacting children and families in a much more powerful and positive way than ever before. Each week, join me for interviews with early childhood leaders and experts that will leave you inspired to become the next childcare rockstar. Now, let's go. This is episode 102 of Childcare Rockstar Radio, featuring Cameron Herold. Hey everybody, it's Chris Murray, your host of Childcare Rockstar Radio, and I'm thrilled to have you back. Today's episode is a not to be missed, incredible time that I'm spending with one of the top entrepreneurial coaches in the world, Mr. Cameron Herold. Cameron is a friend of mine that I met through a mastermind group in Phoenix, and he's a pretty unique and incredible guy. I can't wait for you to meet him here on the podcast. He is an author of several best-selling books, most notably perhaps Double Double, which is an incredible book about how to double your business. And he really has worked with so many high-performing, multi-million-dollar companies, both in the chief operating officer role and the CEO role. And he really understands and gets it with regard to the elements that you need to scale your business. And whether you're a childcare business or any other kind of business, Cameron's techniques can truly help you, truly get you unstuck and help you shift to a culture of excellence and great marketing and really understanding how to drive your company forward and scale up. So I know you're going to love this episode. I really enjoyed my time with Cameron. I think that will come through when you listen and or watch our conversation. We had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, occasional adult language. So if you're around the littles, you may want to put on your AirPods or your headphones, but we keep it mostly clean and just have a really good time sharing business knowledge, techniques, and strategies, and a lot of personal fun along the way. You're going to hear about the power of confident leadership. You're going to hear about how to run great meetings, how to run meetings that don't suck. You're going to hear about a concept called vivid vision, which is something that Cameron is known for, with a process for how he helps leaders jump 3 years forward in the future and clarify where they're really headed in the vision of their leadership in their company. Extremely impactful. And you're going to hear about his mastermind group for COOs, second in commands. It's the largest group of its kind in the world, helping chief operating officers work with their CEOs. It's called the COO Alliance. And really, in the early childhood space, directors and regional directors are our COOs. You guys are doing the work of chief operating officers in your schools. And so I want you to especially pay close attention and listen up to what is shared in this podcast and think about how you can use these techniques to work better with your owner or your CEO of your company. So all of that is in store here on episode 102. Personally, I am jazzed because we're having people, childcare leaders, come here to our beautiful office in Carbondale, Colorado, just outside of Aspen Snowmass. And we're going to have our winter Empire meeting. We have a summer Empire meeting as well, planned for August, but we want to dig back in and be able to travel and be with each other. We actually have a mimosa brunch scheduled for Saturday. Very excited about the 2 new launches that we have coming up here in the latter half of March 2021. Our first is Leadership Mastery for Early Educators, affectionately known as our LMEE course. And we are launching it to a group of, well, it's still in the process, but we're thinking we're going to have 40 or 50 companies in LMEE this go around in a learning cohort of a 5-week deep dive spent on your leadership, really strengthening your confident but empathetic leadership and helping you be a stronger, more effective leader and have a better culture in your school. We've now taught this course once or twice as a cohort, I think twice last year in 2020, and we've had amazing results with people up leveling the cultures of their schools and their leadership skills and confidence, really. And so making a big impact on the world of early learning here with that course. The other thing that we are launching and excited about is our super early bird ticket promotion for the Child Care Success Summit 10th anniversary. We're so excited to be together live in the fall of 2021 in Las Vegas. We're going back to Vegas, y'all, at the Rio Resort and Casino, just off Strip. And we're so excited for a resort takeover. All the ECE leaders are going to come on in with amazing speakers yet to be announced. But we have our super early bird buy one, get one ticket promotion. This is the lowest price you'll be able to secure your tickets at all year. And you're definitely going to want to check out both of these opportunities, both the Leadership Mastery and the super early bird ticket promo at childcaresuccess.com. And that's where everything happens at our main website. So that will end, the ticket promo will end on March 31st. So if you want to jump in and join us in Vegas, where our big goal is we actually are trying to drive to 1,500 people in the audience. So help us get there. Let's be together live. It's the largest business conference in the world for early learning leaders. And we are so excited. We started 10 years ago in this with this conference in Denver with 150 people in the audience. Was my very first one. And here 10 years later, we're trying to 10x it. So 10x in 10 years, help us hit our goal of 1,500 people in the audience. And I can't even imagine the energy and how incredible it's going to be to all be together for a 3-day conference. And we bring you the best of the best in terms of sessions, breakout sessions, speakers, fun, food, drink tickets, an amazing large exhibit hall with all sorts of resources, tools, vendors, and you can go shopping for your business. And hey, why not have a business vacation in Las Vegas? Come on. There's nothing better than being together in the childcare world at the summit. And I want you to come experience it. And if it's been a while since you've been to one, it's time to jump back in and let your business pay for your Vegas vacation, October 14th through the 16th. So join us. Childcaresuccess.com will link you over to the ticket site. And I believe that we will be also selling tickets directly at childcaresuccesssummit.com. All right, everybody. So definitely go get those super early birds before midnight on March 31st, or you will miss out on the deal. All right, let's dive in and learn more about Cameron Herold. He is an incredible guy. I know that you're going to love this just as much as I do. And thanks, everybody, for being along with me on this journey here at Childcare Rockstar Radio. Enjoy. Welcome back, everybody, to Childcare Rockstar Radio. Thrilled to have you, and I am thrilled to bring to you today a top-level guest. I'm so excited here at episode 102 to introduce you to Mr. Cameron Herold. Cameron, how are you today?
Good, Chris. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thrilled to have you. Where are you right now?
I'm in Vancouver. I've been going back and forth the last 10 years between Scottsdale, Arizona and Vancouver, Canada, but I'm in Canada right now.
Very cool. Yeah. And is that where your home's located as well?
According to the government, I'm a U.S. resident, but according to my friends, I'm in Vancouver. It's just, especially during COVID, I've been mostly up in Canada now during COVID.
Yeah, very cool. Because I think it's hard to go back and forth between Canada and the States right now a little bit.
We're calling it Communist Canada right now. They put a huge lockdown in place. You have to stay in hotels when you get here for a few days, and it's crazy.
Yeah. So you are somebody that I have been in mastermind groups with and have seen you do so many amazing entrepreneurial things. I've seen you speak in front of huge audiences. And we also are with you in your COO Alliance group. So tell the group a little bit about some, I guess, bright spots in your entrepreneurial journey, or if somebody, I guess, asked you to give the elevator speech, you can go a
Sure.
little bit longer than an elevator, but what are
Right.
some things that the audience should know about you?
Yeah, I was groomed as an entrepreneur. Both sets of grandparents were entrepreneurs, and my father was an entrepreneur. They raised our three kids in my family to be entrepreneurs, and my brother and sister and I have all run our own companies for between 15 and 25 years.
Hmm.
So that's all I've ever really known. When I was 21, I had 12 full-time employees in my first company. I ran a business for 3 years while I was in university. I graduated university and started coaching entrepreneurs before coaching was even a thing. I was coaching entrepreneurs in 1989. So I had coached 120 entrepreneurs by 1994 in 2 countries. And typically they were kind of in the 10 to 20 employee size range that I was working with back then. But I really cut my teeth in understanding that business. Went on from there, and I was the co-founder of a chain of auto body collision repair shops. And we built that up in Canada from 7 locations when I joined to about 65 when I left. They took the company public right as I was leaving. It's now called Gerber Auto Collision in the US and
Oh, yeah.
Boyd Auto Body in Canada. It's the largest collision repair chain in the world. The business that I was involved in coaching was called College Pro Painters, which went on to become the largest residential house painting company on the planet. And then I was the president of a private currency company. We built that company up and sold it. And then I joined my best friend. He was starting a company. It was called the Rubbish Boys, and he was changing the name over to 1-800-GOT-JUNK. And I came in as his second in command. Really, there were 14 people when I walked in the door. I was employee number 14. When I left 6.5 years later, we had 3,100 employees system-wide. We had gone from 2 million to 106 million in revenue. We ranked as the number 2 company in Canada to work for. We had landed 5,200 stories about our company in the media, including being on Oprah. We were on Dr. Phil 17 times, et cetera, et cetera. I left there about 14 years ago, and I started coaching companies. Typically 50 to 500 employees is my range, but I even say that kind of the 30 to 200 employees would be my sweet spot that I work in. Started coaching real companies. I've done paid speaking events now in 26 countries. I've written 5 books. I started an organization 4.5 years ago called the COO Alliance, just because there were so many networks for the CEO. And I realized we were missing the opportunity to teach their COO how to grow the company. I've always felt like the CEO needs to know what has to happen, but the COO needs to know how to do it. And so I built that organization up. We've now got members from 9 countries. We're growing like crazy. We've added 64 members in 4 months.
Wow.
And then I started a podcast called the Second in Command podcast. So I only interview COOs, and everybody interviews the entrepreneur. I wanted the rest of the story. And then on Monday, I'll give you guys the sneak peek, but on Monday, I'm launching my first course that I've been working on for 10 years. It's called Invest in Your Leaders. And it's all of the skills that all managers and all leaders need to scale themselves in the company. So it's skills on coaching, delegation, time management, situational leadership, one-on-one meetings, interviewing, really all the skills that any leader or manager needs to scale. And that course, Invest in Your Leaders, launches Monday. And yeah, I'm a father. I've got 2 kids that are 19 and 17. I've got a great girlfriend. And I love to travel and golf and hike and ski and that kind of stuff.
It's good. Sounds like a good life.
Yeah.
A lot of similarities to me. My kids are 18 and 16. I've got a great boyfriend, AKA becoming a fiance, and we ski and hike and like to travel and building businesses. And our company is part of your COO Alliance as well. We are actual members. And you and I met through a entrepreneurial organization called Genius Network.
Yeah.
So,
You know what's amazing about that? And I was talking to someone else this morning. He met me when I spoke at his Vistage. I spoke at a big 400-person Vistage event in Houston. And he asked me why I'm a part of mastermind groups. And I said, the more that I invest in myself, the more that I scale my companies. And it's no longer about me learning all the information. It's knowing the people that know the information. You know, when we went to school, and for anybody who's really listening, when we went to school, we had to be the smartest person in the room, right? You had to memorize all the information, because if you went to the library, the book was checked out. So there was no Google, you know, so you had to know the information because there was nowhere to find it. Well, now it's all about finding the information, knowing that it exists, finding the resources, connecting the dots, problem solving.
yeah.
And every mastermind community I've been a part of has given me huge, huge leverage in my business. So I've been a part of 6 different masterminds over the last 10 years.
Yeah, myself as well. And I'm now just about tomorrow. Let's see, Monday I leave for Miami to go. I'm now part of Allie Brown's The Trust, because I love Genius Network. It was great, but I was one of only a handful of women, and so I was then called to go join a group of 7 and 8 figure women as my next mastermind journey. So that's where I'm headed. But very, very cool.
And JJ Virgin runs a solid one as well. It's strong women as well. My sister was at one of these events last year.
I love JJ. She's so awesome.
Great to coach her.
Very, very cool. Tell us a fun fact. What is something about you that hardly anyone knows?
I'm terrified of small groups and networking events. For real. It's really hard for me to go. Now it's easy to go to a Genius Network event, but if I go to a new event for the first time, I'm usually the last person to walk in the first morning. I would rather stand on stage. So I'll even try to network and get to know the owners of the mastermind so I can stand on the stage to get to know people so they come and talk to me. Right. I find it very hard to walk into a cocktail party or a reception. I remember years ago, I did a 9-night cooking course, a French cooking class, and it was like 4 or 5 hours, 9 weeks in a row. And the first night I drove around the block 3 or 4 times, and then I walked around the block once, and I think I was probably smoking. I probably had a cigarette back then. I'm like, oh, fuck it, I'll just go inside. And I'm always okay once I get there, but yeah, people think I'm confident and, I know all these people. Yeah, but I'd rather be on stage or be on a ski hill or something.
Right. Yeah. It reminds me, a few years ago, I was in a mastermind group. I was in War Room with Ryan Dice. And at that time, Frank Kern was part of that group. Mm-hmm. And I got to be in the green room with Frank one-on-one. And he's great in front of a group, but don't make him sit with somebody and actually be social, because he's quite introverted one-on-one.
By the way, it's a really good thing for people to know. If you're ever at an event and you want to meet the speakers, send them an email a few days before and say, hey, I'm not sure what you're doing the night before you speak or the morning before you speak. Would you like to grab a bite? Would you like to go for a run? I'm going to do yoga, whatever. They'll all say yes, because otherwise we're all sitting in our hotel room scared to go out. And that's true of everyone. I've met some big name speakers by reaching out. I just told one of my clients this morning, a CEO that I coached, to join War Room, and I introduced him to Roland Fraser and Perry and Deanna at War Room 3 hours ago.
Really? That's so cool. Yeah.
Actually, somebody from Colorado. You're from Colorado, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's from Colorado Springs. Tyler from Wishing You Well is his brand. So just introduced them to War Room today.
Nice. Love Deanna. That's awesome. Love Roland. So let's dive in I want to talk a little bit about meetings. So confident leadership, one of my kind of go-to phrases is empathetic, but yet confident leadership, and helping our members, our early childhood leaders, step into their own confidence as a leader, but also using empathy for the people on their teams. And those are huge components that come with running great meetings. And you have written a book on meetings and how to run a really great level 10 meeting. So give us some tips around that, if you would.
I'm going to go before the meeting part. I want to talk about the empathetic leader part. Okay. I think you're bang on. So for me, we've all seen the org chart, the CEOs at the top with everybody reporting to them. I flipped the org chart upside down. I actually have all my clients draw the org chart upside down. The CEO is at the bottom, supporting the VPs, who are supporting the managers, who are supporting the employees, who are supporting the customers. We can all see the vivid vision of where we're going. And then you build your company inside the core purpose and the core values. But when the leader's at the bottom, supporting, aligning, coaching, cheering them on, removing obstacles, you're showing up as an authentic, supportive leader. Mm-hmm. But if you're at the top, then you tend to be in this dictatorial, autocratic kind of style. So that for me is the first thing, is when you flip it, it just has the leader showing up with a different mindset. Now, if we talk about meetings, the reason that most meetings suck, and everybody has said it, our meetings suck, or that meeting sucked, or whatever meeting sucked. The reality is meetings don't suck at all. We suck at running meetings. And it's because most of us have never had any training on how to run a meeting, but also for employees, how to participate in meetings, how to show up at meetings. So Meetings Suck was written in 3 parts. It's written for every employee at every company to read. to teach them how to lead while they're in a meeting, how to speak up in a meeting, how to contribute in a meeting, and how to run them, and also what meetings you need to scale your company. So the core parts of meetings that always work. Every meeting has to have a clear purpose, just the one sentence of why we're here. And when you're requesting people to come to a meeting, the purpose has to be in the notes or the subject line. Then every meeting can have a maximum of 3 outcomes, the 3 big things we're going to get done in that meeting. It tends to be, if you have more than 3 big things, you should just have a separate meeting with other people. It's rare that you're covering more than 3 things with all those same people still there. Every meeting has to have an agenda, and that's basically, what are you talking about? In what order are you talking about them? And how many minutes are you going to spend on each agenda item? And then I allow participants to say no agenda, no attenda. Like, if I don't know what we're covering and what the purpose and outcome is, why would I say yes to attend? I don't even know what it's about. Every meeting has to start on time. And I mean, like, if it says 9, start at 9. And then every meeting should finish 5 minutes prior to the scheduled ending time. So if you book a meeting from 8 o'clock till 9 o'clock, the reason people are always late is we book everything right back to back. So if you finish a meeting exactly on time, that means you're late for the next meeting because you don't have time to walk down the hall or pick up the phone or go to the bathroom. So sorry, I'm late. Well, just finish 5 minutes early, and then you have time to go to the bathroom, talk to your assistant, get a cup of coffee, go to the washroom, sit down at your chair, pick up the phone or get on Zoom or and just say, hey, we're right on time for our meeting.
Yeah.
I always book all the meetings for half the time I first think about booking them for. So if you're going to get together for an hour, book it for 30 minutes, or instead of getting together for a day, book it for half a day. I always say it's like a quickie. You can get it done in less time if you need to, right? Like, just But if you Parkinson's law says that work expands to fill the space that we give it. So if you give a meeting an hour, it'll take an hour. But if you give it 30 minutes, the second part is, when you look at the agenda and what you're covering and how many minutes are going to be on each item, you can figure out who you should invite. And you can also figure out how much time you really need for the meeting. Instead of booking it for an hour and filling the space, book it for based on what you need to get done. Those would be some of the basic principles. The other part is, let's talk about the employees that are showing up at meetings for a second. It's all about getting everyone who's attending to contribute. If they're not going to contribute, why are they there in the first place? Let them go back to their desk and do their work. If you're not going to bring them to a meeting and contribute, why are you bringing them? So I like to have the leader speaking last, the most senior person at the table speaking last, and always getting the most junior or the newest employee to speak first and go around the room until the most senior, because at the end, the senior person's like, all my ideas got said. But if the CEO is speaking and no one else is, the other employees walk out going, well, I had that idea, but he never listens to me, or I didn't get a chance to share. But if the CEO will let other people speak, they'll realize, wow, they're really smart, and I grew their confidence, right? It's all about growing their skills and confidence. More gets done, and you've grown your people.
Yeah. Well, that last bit is just so huge, you guys, because as you get in the practice of speaking last and letting your team devise the solution and not being a Budinsky while they're in the flow, because I think that we as leaders, sometimes we feel like we need to control things. Letting go of that control and getting in the habit and the rhythm of letting them all engage and speak, because that's when people also feel really happy about the experience they had in the meeting, is they actually got to share, they actually got to speak, and they actually got to come out of their own shell a little bit. And so I love that, Cameron, because I've really had to practice that habit, but it's become better and better and better in my DNA as a leader.
Here's a habit that'll be really powerful for everyone, and I think they'll really understand this, because everyone listening is in the business of education. And our job is to grow these little tiny kids into these confident children who can go off and get into the school system, right? Our job is to give them some skills and some confidence. Well, our job as a CEO or our job as a leader is to grow our people. And I think of all my people as climbing up 2 ladders right beside each other. So think of like a 40-foot ladder and another 40-foot ladder, and they're right beside each other. And 1 foot and 1 hand is going up the skills ladder. The other foot and the other hand is going up the confidence ladder. Well, if the confidence ladder is shaking, there's no way they'll learn any more skills because they're terrified and they're holding on to the confidence ladder. But if you build their confidence, they'll build more skills. If they get more skills, they've got more confidence. If they get more confidence, they'll get more skills. So our job as a leader is always to build the confidence and the skills of our people so they can grow the company for us. And if the CEOs are really mindful of that, what am I doing today to build the confidence of my team? What am I doing to build the excitement? Like the CEO really is the chief energizing officer, right? That's our role, is to give good positive energy to the group. And then if we're upside down org chart and our job is to remove obstacles and coach them and cheer them on and train them, our people can do anything for us.
That's extremely powerful. I often go back to the Dan Sullivan 4 C's with confidence, capabilities, starting out with commitment and courage. But yeah, a lot of times too, your people are either afraid to commit or too nervous or don't know what they're committing to. So help them commit, help them through the fear with the courage, and then the confidence capability component. I love that. So I love the two ladder mental image. I've never heard it quite that way before, Cameron.
I came up with it about a year ago because I used to run a house painting business, and I was just thinking about confidence skills. I was like, if one is shaky, I'm like, and all shaky. I just remembered being on these 40-foot ladders, and they're like,
yeah,
like I don't like heights. Like, so, and then I've been a bad leader at times where I'll like get upset with the employees, and it scares them and shakes them, and it just fucks everything up.
yeah.
Right? If I build their confidence and cheer them on, and it's like a kid, right? Like, good job riding a bicycle. The kid didn't ride the bicycle. They went 4 pedals and they fell on their ass, but you cheered them on so they want to do it again, right? And then they get 7 pedals, and they get 24 pedals, and then they're biking, right?
I'm laughing at your use of the F-bomb because our folks are pretty timid about that component, which it makes me crack up because sometimes I have to like really, watch my profanity. But one time, I'll tell you guys a really quick fun fact of something that happened to us, real deal. We're in the COO Alliance, and we mixed up our Zooms between the Empire Day. So if those of you guys that are watching and listening to this, you'll remember we were going into our first virtual meeting ever last year, right at COVID time. And we had our Zoom Empire Day, and all of our Empire clients went into your meeting, Cameron, and you were on stage at the COO Alliance, and you were throwing a bunch of F-bombs or what have you, because Diane's always like, yeah, he likes to swear. And our people tend to not. And so it was the most hilarious thing because the Empire people were like, where are we? And we're with some guy who's like using a ton of profanity. So anyway, that happened, which I just find to be hilarious.
And then our side was we had this small group of like 50 people, and then we were getting Zoom bombed with like 200. I'm like, I don't know any of these people. Who are they? Like, we're growing like fucking crazy.
Yeah. So the fun with Zoom links. So random, but yeah, so that happened. So back to leadership. I want to talk about vivid vision. You created this concept called vivid vision. I have actually shared this concept and kind of retaught it, giving you credit, of course, around your 3-year, take your current company and go forward 3 years from today and then craft your vivid vision. Can you talk a little bit more about that and that process?
Yeah, so it's a process that I learned the rough ideas from an Olympic coach 23 years ago. 120 entrepreneurs in Vancouver from the Entrepreneurs Organization were invited to this luncheon. 16 of us went. And this Olympic coach was talking about how athletes use visualization to excel in their sport. And he talked about Mary Lou Retton, the gymnast, would walk around the floor looking at her routine on an index card, stopping at each spot, thinking about that part of the routine. Or downhill skiers would close their eyes and they would ski a downhill course kind of with their vision of what it was. Or tennis players would practice a shot. When I was being coached in tennis as a teen, we were in a very high performance tennis academy. We had to practice our serve one night in complete darkness. They turned off all the lights in the tennis camp. They put 3 tennis tins in the corner of the service court, and we had to serve until we knocked over a tin, and you couldn't see 5 feet in front of you. But we had to use visualization of where it was. So I understood how they did it in sport. And then in the business world, he was challenging us to find a business that used visualization well. And the one I came up with was a home builder or a contractor that, let's say that someone was getting their kitchen renovated. The homeowner is really the CEO of the project, right? They're the ones that want, how much are we going to spend and what's it look like? What's the finished project look like? But if they don't really clearly explain the vivid vision to the contractor will build a kitchen, but it won't look anything like what they wanted. Now, if you explain it clearly, the contractor can do blueprints and elevation drawings so that they're so clear that the homeowner goes, yep, you got it. The homeowner goes, okay, I got it. The homeowner or the contractor then hands the plans or the blueprints to the employees the employees could build the entire home without ever speaking to the homeowner, because the vision got articulated so clearly that the plan could get built. So in the business world, most entrepreneurs have an idea of what our company looks like. We can see our company in the future. We know what the culture is like. We know how we want our customer experience to be like. We've got a vision of what we want our school to be like and what, but if no one can read our mind, how are they possibly going to make the decisions that we can make? And entrepreneurs are famous for saying, oh, I have such good intuition. Not really. The only reason your intuition is so good is you're the only one that sees the vision. But if everyone can see the same vivid vision you can see, they'll have the same intuition. They'll make similar decisions because they know where they're going, right? So the idea of the vivid vision became a 4 or 5 page written document that you lean out into the future, and you kind of go out in almost in a time machine to December 31st, 2023, and you walk around your company and you describe every aspect of it, how the meetings are happening, how your team's interacting, how the leaders are getting along, how you're interacting with customers, almost as if it's come true. And then that 5 page description is what your team starts to reverse engineer and figure out how to make it happen.
That's so
That's
powerful. And most of us don't spend nearly enough time
yeah.
thinking that through.
I cover the vivid vision in my first book, Double Double. I also cover it in the Miracle Morning for Entrepreneurs that I co-authored with Hal Elrod. And then I also wrote the extended version of it, or expanded version, I'm sorry, called Vivid Vision itself. There's some really good details there.
Well, you mentioned Miracle Morning, and I have had people in my life embrace Hal's Miracle Morning process. And I have to admit, I've never really gotten down my morning routine on something that will stick. I've done different things, and I've, tried meditation and done some journaling and yoga, whatnot. And I do work out on my Peloton regularly, but tell me a little bit more about the Miracle Morning concept. Are you actually fully embracing it? Do you shift around your morning routine? Is it always solid? Whatever you can share there, I think would be helpful, at least for me.
I spoke about it in the book that my Miracle Morning kind of sucks. And I talked about giving yourself a break once in a while if you're slipping or you're not doing a good job with it. But no, mine is not good. And there's that old saying of those who can do, those who can't teach.
Yeah.
That I know it works because I've impacted enough lives with it. It's a hugely successful book, The Miracle Morning for Entrepreneurs.
Right.
So it starts off with Hal's Morning Savers, and that's the acronym of the first S is for silence. And it's just waking up and giving yourself a moment of silence in the morning where you listen to the birds, you listen to the road traffic outside, you just listen to the energy of the day, and you kind of allow yourself to ease into the morning. And then your A is your affirmation. And that's like a statement that you might say for yourself. And I pretty much do that almost every day. And then you get into your visualization, which is maybe reading part of your vivid vision or listening part of your vivid vision or thinking about an event that you have coming up and how are you going to walk into that event. That one I'm pretty good at because I always kind of look at my agenda for the day and I think about the core big things that are happening so that I can set myself in that meeting. Like this morning, I had a meeting with one of my team. I wanted to walk into that with the right thoughts and ideas. So I kind of felt myself in that meeting. The E is for exercise. And even if it's just like a quick, do some burpees or do some push-ups or do a quick 7-minute workout or something to kind of get the blood flowing. Tony Robbins is famous for before he gets on stage, he jumps on a mini trampoline for 90 seconds just to get his endorphins going. The R is for reading. And what I tell people as well is we're nowadays in the time of technology, reading doesn't have to mean using your eyes. It just means devouring content that others have created for you that you can learn from and grow from. And then the S is for scribing, which is writing. And that's just sitting down with your 5-minute journal or journaling. And that's just a hugely powerful exercise. So I've had times when, and then I'll add into those, like, finishing with a cold shower and lemon juice and water or smudging myself. I've had all kinds of habits that have been good. My contribution to the book was the rest of the day. And it was all around focus, systems on delegation, systems on hiring a second command, and then on reverse engineering that vivid vision. And then I also went out to my network and found 10 very successful entrepreneurs, and we got them to give us their morning routine. So that was like Yannick Silver and JJ Virgin and Dave Asprey and Joe Polish all contributed and gave us their morning routines as well.
Nice. Yeah, I'm pretty good with the S and the A and then the exercise. So I'll have to I can fill in and try to have the awareness is great. So thanks for taking me through that. And that was
Well,
really just for me, guys, because I needed help. Like, am I doing this right? What's missing? What are my gaps? So that's helpful.
for me, I like the exercise at the end of the day because it allows me to decompress after my busy focus. Like I'm hardcore on during the day, but then I really
Yeah.
want to decompress. So for me, I like to do some exercise to separate from work so then I can shift into cooking and, enjoying the rest of my day.
Right. Very cool. Love that. Thank you. Let's talk about the COO Alliance. It's one of the world's top organizations. It's probably the largest to help the second in commands. And I
Yeah.
loved what you said about everybody's always focused on the CEO, but how about the COO and the second in commands? Tell us a little bit more about that organization and any trends that you're seeing in those companies as we evolve in 2021. How are things doing coming out of COVID, et cetera?
One thing that's really coming out of COVID, people are really looking at remote teams, remote companies, hiring remote employees. I was chatting with this CEO this morning about it. I said, could you imagine any major league sport? Like, let's say that you've got the Chicago Bears football team. There's no way that every single player from the Chicago Bears happens to be from Chicago. Like, how is that possible? Right? So that, of
Right.
course, they recruit from everywhere. Well, then why are we trying to build our company and they all have to live within 30 minutes of our location? That's insanity to think that's ever going to happen. So there's definitely a migration to this digital nomads, remote workforce, and COVID has really sped that up for sure. One of the trends that I see amongst the COO community is they really, really, really care about their employees or their employer's company. They really want to help their CEOs make their dreams happen. Most of the COOs have no desire to be the entrepreneur. They don't want their job. There's nothing about their job that excites them. I had someone the other day I asked everyone to do their Kolbe profile as the entrepreneur, and the COO also does a Kolbe profile. And the COO said, what do you think my Kolbe profile is? I said, I know it's going to be something like 8643 or 6843. He's like, how do you do that? I said, I just know COOs better than anybody. You're going to be either a high fact finder where you ask lots of questions, or you're going to put a lot of systems in place before you start things. And he said, okay. He goes, what do you think my CEO's Kolbe would be? I said, it'll be like 4393. Well, his CEO's Kolbe was 5383. So a high quick start, secondary, asking questions, typical entrepreneur. And then the COO's Kolbe was 8643. So there's such different personality profiles, but what they're working on is how do they get in sync, right? How do they work and communicate well together and get in sync? And once they do that, there's a lot of power in that relationship. Definitely seeing a huge movement towards outsourcing and offshoring and fractional employees and not having to hire full-time people for everything. Dan Sullivan and Ben Hardy wrote that book, Who Not How. Really, the COOs are definitely more looking for who's outside of the company to do stuff instead of full-time people, which gives you additional leverage as well.
Excuse me. And so what goes on in the COO Alliance? You guys meet quarterly and you're helping them with different aspects of how to manage companies?
I can't tell you. You're a CEO. I'm not telling you what we do.
It's secret.
Yeah. So the COO Alliance is exclusively for seconds in command. It doesn't matter your title. You could be president, COO, VP operations, members from 9 countries. Our youngest member is 26. Our oldest is 60. Smallest company has around 35 employees. Largest has around 3,000. You need 5 million in revenue to qualify now. The largest one is around 350, 400 million. Actually, we've got one that's closer to $1 billion now.
Wow.
But I'd say the mean is about 35 million, 50 employees tends to be kind of the normal size company.
Okay.
It's all around them masterminding with each other and sharing with each other. So every month we have a 3-hour theme. We talk about that theme together. This month's theme was digital marketing and funnels. So we had Jeff Walker, who wrote the product launch formula.
Yep.
Jeff came in and spoke. And then we had another one of our COOs present, and they have a digital marketing agency. So they geeked out on digital marketing for 3 hours. We had 4 breakout groups where they broke out and talked to each other over Zoom. We had a group discussion. They also have an in-person or a Slack channel that they use in between events to help each other and ask questions, which is hugely interactive now. That's kind of the core. The core model now is the online 12 events a year. And then we also have in-person events that are optional for people to come to now as well.
Very cool. I have a very strange question for you. May I see your wrists?
My wrists.
Your
I
wrists.
was wearing, I had three
Yeah,
of those.
where's your
I
bracelets?
used to wear three of them. I had, yeah, I did have three of them for a while. I
So I've got
constantly
mine,
forgot. Yeah.
Cameron. And so do you have a 2021 word that you could share? Or
Probably
did you stop
boundaries.
that practice?
Well, I had
Boundaries.
boundaries and I had confidence, and I'd say probably still on the confidence, just really working on that. My 2021 focus is I'm getting ready to start living globally. So for me, there's a lot of focus around trying to figure out where I'll set up my company, where I'll set up myself personally for taxes, how I can get myself legally outside of the Canadian and US tax jurisdiction. I think I can get my total taxes down to close to like 3 to 4% total tax. So that's kind of and then where am I going to live and how can I come back to Canada to be with my kids once in a while? That's where my head is.
That's pretty good. You know what I did to escape tax is I transitioned to an ESOP organization last year.
Yeah.
Which isn't going to totally save me, but it's going to save me almost all. So good luck on your international journey. That's super cool. And I'm jealous. So let me know where you land, because that's really, really cool. So my word for 2021 is joy, in case you guys didn't know. And you knew that my word from last year was fire. Most of my friends know that listen to this podcast. But I also think presence, like for me, is living in the now, like being present. I just feel like that's such an important one that I think a lot of us, we're either living in the future or we're so busy, the days just go away from us. And then we're like, well, shit, what happened? So
yeah, I think the one that I'm starting to think about for me a little bit is I don't know what the word would be yet, but I tend to worry a lot. I tend to stew about, it's kind of like control the controllables. I'm not often good at that. I often can spin myself out of control with worry and frustration and stress. So, and that's also just de-stress more, right? Just, get more exercise and have more fun and just disconnect.
Yeah. More fun. We've been through it. It's been a year now almost since we went into lockdown. So I'm going to probably have some champagne and I don't know. Well, I'm actually going dog sledding on March 13th.
Cool.
And with Charlie, who you've met, who also started out his professional journey when he was 25 as a dog musher with the same company just outside of Aspen. And I've never gone dog mushing. So that'll be a good way to celebrate coming 1 year anniversary, if you want to call it that, from the beginning of lockdown.
I did the dog sledding up in Alaska about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was fun. It was fast.
Yeah. I'm super stoked.
Yeah.
So my final question for you is, if you had to do it all over again, Cameron, what one thing would you do differently?
I think I just wouldn't take myself so effing seriously. Like, at the end of the day, none of this actually matters.
Yeah.
We're all going to die and then it goes away anyway. Like, what are we so serious for? Like, let's just have some fun and enjoy what we're doing. And I'm very thankful that I've really had, other than about 2 years, maybe 3 max in all of my work career, have I not enjoyed what I was working on. But I've always loved what I did for work, to make money. So I've been happy there. But yeah, I think I just have more fun along the way.
Yeah, I love that one. I'm right there with you. How can people learn more about you and or buy your books? What would you like to leave them with as far as how to connect with you or anything like that?
Sure. Definitely check out the Invest in Your Leaders course. I mean, that's something that if they have managers or leaders, so worthwhile for them to spend a little bit of money to grow their people. It'll be like a $600 per person investment that'll make a massive return. The second best opportunity would be to get any of the books, right? All 5 of my books are available on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. And then check out the Second in Command podcast as well. There's some great resources and amazing interviews that we do there. But yeah, I would start with the Invest in Your Leaders course for sure. And then my main website is CameronHerold.com, and they can get all my information there.
Cool. And can they find the Leaders course there as well? Yeah,
there'll be a link to that as well starting on Monday. The link will be live on Monday, but the course is live now.
Sweet. Cameron Herold, HEROLD.com. Very good. Cameron, it's been a joy. I thank you so much for being here. Super fun. Enjoyed the hell out of it.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. It's amazing. Enjoy your dog sled.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Take care and God bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.